And so, before we get officially started on the Hake report, let me tell you something that went down yesterday. I read a tweet from the liberal journalist who's been on the Jesse Peterson show, Michael Tracy. He's been on a couple of times. He's a liberal guy, but he's a little bit more honest, if there is such a thing, an honest journalist, an honest liberal, an American, than the average, right? Than the average, which is a low bar, but still. He referenced Alexandria Cortez, and he tweeted, and I read this to you guys yesterday, she invoked her alleged sexual assault in order to shame as abusive. And she talked about how I am a victim of sexual assault. Oh no, she said survivor. They like to say survivor of sexual assault because it's more empowering to call yourself a survivor than a victim. I learned that on Tumblr. She invoked her alleged sexual assault. And I like how he says alleged because we don't have no idea if she's telling the truth. In order to shame as abusive those who don't uncritically affirm her histrionic account of what occurred at the Capitol. This is Michael Tracy tweeting, a liberal journalist. If you don't see the manipulativeness inherent in that rhetorical tactic, you are delusional. And so I was like, what is histrionic? Because this Michael Tracy guy who's a liberal journalist, and then I will get started with the show, guys. Uses big words, man. He uses big words. He was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show using these big words that no doubt some of them flew over my head. I imagine that they must have flown over Jesse's head. But Based AF gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report and said, histrionics is insincere, exaggerated, and overly dramatic acting. Typical AOC. Thank you, Based AF. Based America First. Very nice. We are live on YouTube, Periscope, D Live, I believe, which no longer lets you guys give lemons or diamonds or ice cream or ninjaginis or ninjets to the Hake Report, nor to the Jesse Lee Peterson show, nor any truth-telling independent outlet talking about what's going on in the world. I'm live on trovo.live/The Hake Report, a new platform. Facebook, Twitch, TalkStream Live, and others. It is 9:03 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. Tonight, or this afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, we do have a Sunday service throwback. 4 p.m. my time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Figure it out if you're elsewhere. Bond Sunday Service throwback on the Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel, and it will be available for audio podcast too. Make sure you check it out. These are excellent midweek little Sunday service premieres. Nice, right? So join us on the Bond YouTube channel, Bond Rebuilding the Man. You can find it by going to rebuildingtheman.com/church. And also, of course, Men's Forum tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. at Bond for men only. Not recorded, not streamed. Totally private, and they're always excellent. A highlight of the month, every month. Women's forums, the ladies love the women's forums, which are third Thursdays. And so, anyway, I'm going to be talking about Ron DeSantis, the king, whom I mentioned in Hake News at the end of hour one. He's going after the what he calls the big tech cartel. Very nice. I love it. And many other things. Biden is a mess. There are some topics that I didn't get to cover that I've been wanting to cover, and I will cover those things. And of course, your call is 888-775-3773. Anyway, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report.
So, isn't it interesting? Some of the most misguided people are trying to run the show, right? It's terrible. I'm referring to some of the people pictured in the intro slideshow that Joel Friday here played for you. If you were watching the video of this RINO representative, Adam Kinzinger, and this Daily Beast writer who's calling Blue Lives Matter white supremacists and all that stuff. So before I get to calls, let me tell you about these communist corporations, and I call them communists. If you don't know what communism is, just take it as my using the word as another word for evil, lying, deceiving, subversive, anti-American, anti-freedom, anti-morals, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-decent people. That's what I mean by communism. Because these corporations, people are like, oh, how can a capitalist corporation be communist? They are. They're evil. It's capitalism without morals is communism. And socialism, same thing. It's because it's all misguided. They're all pushing evil. The worst, most corrupted people and institutions are being given over to run the show. Well, not so with the state of Florida, I think. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, according to the Epoch Times, EPOCH, the Epoch Times says that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will penalize big tech companies for any unlawful practices going forward. I don't know if he'll be able to penalize them for stuff that they've already done that's pure evil and subversive and anti-American. This is what I did not read in Hake News at the end of hour 1 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today. I mentioned some of this stuff that he said he's going to do. But he said, Ron DeSantis, the guy who said, let's not monkey this up before he got elected against that Andrew Gillum guy, the black guy, another version of Obama. Ron DeSantis said these platforms have changed from neutral platforms, referring to Facebook, Twitter, Google, probably it would include YouTube. I definitely would, which is part of Google, and maybe others. These platforms have changed from neutral platforms that provided Americans with the freedom to speak to enforcers of preferred narratives. That is so true. Just plain truth. He said they've played an increasingly decisive role in elections, true, and have negatively impacted Americans who dissent from orthodoxies favored by the big tech cartel. And cartel is, when I think of the word cartel, I think of the Mexican drug cartels, criminal gangs that basically run Mexico. Like, they're more powerful than the Mexican government. They push the Mexican government and police around and the people. And they're criminals. They're evil. And so it is also, in my opinion, with these social media giant companies, Twitter included. And Twitter is probably the least powerful of these three huge companies, Twitter, Facebook, and what we call Google, which is Alphabet, which includes Google and YouTube and everything else, right? They're evil, and they are increasingly, and I think YouTube or Google, one of their employees was reported to have said something like, we can't have another 2016 where Trump wins. There were a lot of people who rose and rose and rose in the viewership and listenership in during the 2016 thing when Trump was coming to power, because all the mainstream media was anti-Trump, all of them, including Fox News. It's a lie that Fox News was pro-Trump. They were mostly anti-Trump, with some people who were pro-Trump. They were fair and balanced, more so than the rest of the mainstream media, right? Oh, man. And anyway, they said, we can't have that happen again. And so they suppressed all the all the conservative and decent and independent-minded liberal and libertarian voices. It was such a mess. That is what YouTube, Google did to prevent President Trump from winning again and prevent those people who were the voice of the people, the unheard, the voice of the unheard, from having a big platform like these establishment acceptable liberal media giants have. What a mess, right? So he mentions tech giants, and I've lost my chat for some reason. Am I streaming still? Everything's still good? I see me on Periscope, so I should be fine still. But I don't see your live chat. Let me just turn off my Wi-Fi. Maybe that'll help. Sometimes Wi-Fi gets slow. But let me continue, because I do want to get to calls and stuff. Very interesting calls yesterday, by the way. Thank you. Tech giants moderating news favorable, unfavorable to Biden, meaning they suppress it. For example, that New York Post article about Hunter Biden, his laptop, and strange shenanigans going on with Hunter Biden. Where's Hunter? And banning high-profile conservatives and many normal people banned, including real President Donald J. Trump from Twitter and Facebook. I call him real because he was a genuine person, not a phony politician. And their removal of Parler social media platform from Amazon's servers. And I'm not the hugest fan of Parler, but I'm on there. So is JLP, or were. I don't know. I guess they're still not up. Yeah, hugest is not a proper word. Thank you, Joel. But DeSantis said, quote, when 2.8 million Americans chose to download the application Parler and share information with friends, family, and colleagues, he calls that payback for me saying you hugest, because I correct people's grammar all the time. I'm a grammar Nazi, commie, or something, obnoxious person. What was the result of that? When 2.8 million Americans chose to download Parler, canceled by Amazon, Google, and Apple, said DeSantis. Yep. Very true. This whole pretense that, Parler was a hub of where they planned the Capitol attack. No, it was mostly planned on Facebook, and most of it was not even an attack at all. And it was selectively enforced against the Capitol riot, but not the Black Lives Matter riot, nor the Antifa riot. Those people still have free reign to spread their mess and lies. And in fact, they're boosted and amplified by these so-called big tech giants. I don't even like the term big tech, but that's what they are, I guess. So DeSantis called for debate rather than a silent attack on freedom of speech. These people don't have the spirit of the freedom of speech. Under the new measure in Florida legislature, the technology companies that deplatform a candidate during an election will face a daily fine of $100,000 until the candidate's access to the platform is restored. Nice. I like that. I don't know how effective this is going to be, but I love the effort. I love the truth that he's telling. He's another Donald J. Trump. Only he's a DeSantis, a Ron DeSantis. And maybe he'll be more effective as a politician because he knows how to, he's more experienced as a politician. Ron DeSantis is, I think. Florida's House Speaker Chris Sprowls said, with our proposal, we are going to bring into the sunshine what I call the 5 families of darkness: Facebook, Twitter, Google, Amazon, and Apple. Adding, these actors won't go unchecked here in Florida anymore. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of the UN or the EU, the European Union, and those companies are trying to, I call them companies, those socialist, anti-American, and anti-freedom bodies of so-called government are trying to get their meddling fingers involved in this. And so is that Massachusetts, I think, woman, senator, former university professor, Elizabeth Warren, sleazy woman. They just want to push their corrupt control fingers into these corrupt companies. So corrupt government in bed with corrupt companies. What's new? Even more so, right? But House Speaker of Florida, Chris Sproul said they have access to private information and the ability to exercise control over individuals' free speech and more. Sproul said, we're pushing the barriers to finally call out their convoluted and inconsistent standards for censoring, banning, and deplatforming. You shouldn't do it at all, honestly, for the most part, unless it's outright like pornography, which they support generally, or threats or actual lies like Black Lives Matter. Big Tech hates decent people. Twitter axed, meaning not asked, axed, meaning banned, a group for so-called hate speech about the HHS officials' biological sex. You know that that transgender, whatever person, whom don't show any pictures. You can show a picture, but only like for 2 seconds, because 3 seconds is too much. Oh, that's not what I was referring to. I was talking about the HHS secretary. There's so many transgenders nowadays. It's all the rage. I think during Roman times, the homosexuality became rampant, more rampant, because they made it fine. Totally degenerate, a spoiled culture. People can get away with living longer wrong, in a wrong way. But that was according to Breitbart. That, you know, it's like this, it looks like an old man dressed up in a wig, to me. Somebody who was appointed to the Health and Human Services. Okay. What a mess. Facebook hates you too. A Facebook lawyer, according to Revolver News, is going to be the head of this DOJ antitrust division. Merrick Garland. This is from the American Prospect. Merrick Garland, who I think was named to be the head of the DOJ, right? I think. He was Obama's pick for Supreme Court, Merrick Garland, but we didn't approve him. We held out until Trump became president, and then we got some RINO guy. Susan Davies has spent much of the last decade working on behalf of major mergers and fending off antitrust enforcement. Antitrust, from what I understand, that means not letting companies become monopolies. Merrick Garland talking from the so-called office of the president-elect, which Joe Biden wasn't officially that, but they were pretending. The fight over the direction of the Biden administration's antitrust policy intensifies as a new figure has emerged in the fray. Attorney General nominee Merrick Garland. He wants this woman, Susan Davies, a Facebook lawyer, according to Revolver News, to be the head of the DOJ antitrust division. Fox guarding the hen house. So you can count on that with the Biden administration. Didn't Biden appoint a bunch of Facebook executives and to his administration? I think he did. Project Veritas was kind of exposing Facebook earlier. Facebook had a VP of civil rights to police diversity and social justice. There's Susan Davies. Wow. We're all on her bad side, I would imagine. Facebook wants white police officers to wear Oculus VR headsets, which Oculus VR virtual reality, which is this where you can simulate, go through simulations, right? With Oculus VR, it's kind of like the flight simulators wannabe, where you can play a video game and learn how to fly an airplane. Now they have this Oculus VR headset to watch black people get abused, traumatize the white police officers, and try to make them feel guilty. When it's not even true, the pretense that white officers are disproportionately targeting blacks. Give me a break. And I think this lawyer or somebody is crediting the Facebook mob with lifting George Floyd riots to levels not even the White House could. I don't know who is crediting that, but just sleazy people inside the Biden administration and inside Facebook and inside all these huge giants. By the way, Jeff Bezos is so-called stepping down from as CEO of Amazon. I told you that about that in Hake News. Did you know that Jeff Bezos is not even Jeff Bezos by blood? Kind of like James Hake is, I think, supposed to be James Rowe. I don't know. Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name right. Sounds like is that Dutch or something? Somebody less ignorant than me, fill me in. Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is the person who became Jeff Bezos. In 1964, the son of Jacqueline Giese, or Giese, G-I-S-E. Or she was born Giese, that was her maiden name. Jacqueline and Ted Jorgensen. And it's an O with the cross out of it. At the time of his birth, his mother was a 17-year-old high school student, and his father was a bike shop owner. I've seen I think his father, his real father, blood father, has died now. But, see, back in the days, they married at it. It's 1964. Presumably, they were married. I could be wrong. Yeah, they were married. And she was 17. So all this drama about, they're trying to smear Judge Roy Moore. They're trying to call him a pedophile. But people were marrying at a young age back in the day. 1964, married at 17. High school student. Father, a bike shop owner. Well, they divorced. Even back then, times were pretty degenerate. They divorced, and his mother married a Cuban immigrant named Miguel Mike Bezos, B-E-Z-O-S, in 1968, just 4 years after he was born. Shortly after the wedding, Mike adopted the 4-year-old Jeff Jorgensen, whose surname was then changed to Jeff Bezos. And I think that this guy rejected his father. If I remember the story right, because I saw a local news story a few years back. I believe the bike owner father has now died. He owned that bike shop for decades. Yeah, Inside Edition did that story. I remember seeing it years after it came out, like maybe last year or 2 years ago. I saw the news report. I was like, whoa, he rejected his father. He didn't even want to see him, from what I understand. I don't know. But he's a mess. And his mother married a Cuban immigrant. Reminds me of Obama. Because Obama's mother married everybody but Americans. Married a Muslim turned atheist Kenyan communist. I think he was a communist, Barack Obama Sr., right? And then married a Muslim Indonesian who tried to bring her around like Americans and whites and said, I'm bringing you around your people. How come you're not happy? And she's all, these are not my people. I saw that in Dinesh D'Souza's movie, 2016, Obama's America. It was kind of eye-opening about Obama's background. Anyway, let me get to some calls. I'm going to, Joel showed some pictures of this Daily Beast guest writer who did a smear job on the Gracies. The Gracies. You guys know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Some of you guys know that stuff? And there was a major hit piece on one particular guy who trains cops. And I say chokeholds are a useful thing. Rener. How do you say it? Henner? Even though it has an R at it? It's pronounced Henner? Dang. Good thing I have Joel here with me. Joel Friday here. It's pronounced Henner? Dang. That's two that Joel has on me now. Joel just knows them. Dang. First name basis.
I don't know them, but I know of them.
Right on. I mean, a lot of you guys who listen to JLP and Hake know this stuff. And I don't know much about it. But that's cool. That's cool. Right on. I got to get to calls. Lines are full, guys. So let's do it. Let's get to Earl in Michigan. My second favorite caller. Earl, how are you?
Hola, buenos dias.
Hey.
James Hake.
Good morning.
First of all, for the man mom / he she Ian from California, who shops at product.
I have no idea. Are you speaking English?
Yeah, the guy that took a shot at me yesterday. You know I get him. I think you even mentioned it. Ian from California.
Oh, yeah, Ian from Martinez, California.
Yeah.
A great man.
The man mom that lives at home with his mama.
Where are you getting that? I don't think that's true. What the heck? Are you saying Ian lives with his mother?
Well, he probably does. He talks
probably.
You
sound like Maze, making stuff up and saying it's probably true.
Yep.
See you later, reprobate.
When he takes shots at folks, be ready to get it back.
I know, but at least he takes true shots. You take lying shots. Just make up stuff.
Shots. Well, what true shots did he take? Calling me?
I don't remember, but they hurt you evidently. I don't even remember him mentioning you.
Yeah, he said Earl the girl.
Oh, remember that? That's true. He did.
So that ain't true, idiot.
Well, your spirit's kind of girly.
No, yours is, you incel.
Watch it.
Well, no, I don't care. Don't call me no girl, because I'm going to come at you. I don't care who you are.
Okay, at least you know that it's an insult.
Yeah, so that's why he gets it right back. If he can't handle it, tough.
Real tough, man. All right.
But
glad you got that off your chest. Taking pot shots at different callers.
It's all in fun.
Yeah.
Because he was. I believe he was just joking because he just wanted to take a shot.
Yeah, he's a well-meaning guy for sure.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean anything by it. Although he does mean to criticize you, to make you check yourself, because you shouldn't be like this. Are you really 58?
I never said my age, and don't try to guess.
72. You just said not to guess.
Are you hard of hearing?
Go for it. Keep going. Let's move on with the call. What you want?
Yeah, let's do that. You know your was it Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Uh-huh.
What a nut job.
Well,
that's what y'all got in y'all. That's the best y'all can come up with in the Republican Party?
No, it's not. I don't agree with putting a woman up there. But, she does say some true things, and then she goes a little bit nutcasey, a little. But I'm not embarrassed of her. Huh?
What's true? Lasers from outer Jewish lasers from outer space causing the fires in California?
I don't know what the Rothschild was that a reference to the Rothschilds or something like that? Are the Rothschilds or I don't know. I don't know what that I don't know the context of that. But the point is let me tell you what's true that she said. That Republicans are weak. She was right about that. And Democrats are evil. I don't know if she said that exactly, but
the clock is right at least once a day. So she can be right once in a while, but 99% of chance she's a nut job.
I mean, so is every Democrat who is a Democrat.
In Tuberville, I guess y'all got poor pickings.
Tommy Tuberville.
All you have to do is, I guess, all you have to do is be Republican to get elected. Is be able to stand up straight. You don't have a brain in his body.
Oh, but, interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about him. I know that Trump supported him and that he supposedly supported Trump.
All he knew was how to design a football play. He had nothing about politics whatsoever. But it didn't matter with Republicans.
Football is not too different from politics.
It's a lot different.
Okay.
But y'all talk about police, the police and law and order,
Yeah.
and so forth. But all those folks, were you on the side of the police? When about 100, up to 140 of them got injured.
140 police got injured. Are you referring to the Capitol riots?
At the Capitol siege.
Yeah, siege.
Whose side were you on? The folks that was doing the sieging or the police?
I was on the
Because
side.
usually you talk about.
I was on the side of the police.
So you condemn the folks that was doing it, that knocked the guy out, broke some ribs with other cops, and there's a whole lot of injuries.
If that's true, yeah.
140.
Yeah.
But
no, if they were attacking the cops, I do condemn that for sure. Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
They show one them pushing so
I did
hard.
see one taking a swing at a cop, and one guy pretending like he was in a mosh pit with the cops. So that's dumb. It's retarded. Probably a liberal.
It was more than swinging at the cops. They was throwing
fire extinguishers and stuff like that. Yeah, I heard about that. I reported on that.
Stuff. I guess.
How come you know so much? How come you know so much about this, but you don't know anything about and you never even mentioned the violence in the BLM riots? Huh?
Yeah.
I've talked about both. How come you haven't?
Why did you know so much about the BM riots and you know nothing about this?
I do know stuff about this. You're not telling me much new, except
you didn't see them crushing the police in their siege.
I reported on that stuff, Earl. You're just lying now.
And they beating him over the head with his own helmet.
I didn't hear about that one. Forth. But Earl, you're just being silly now. You're making up stuff.
I'm just being factual.
No, you're not.
I'm saying how hypocritical you are.
You're accusing me of not knowing anything about it, and I do know stuff about it. I reported on the stuff that was interesting.
You touch on it just a little bit, but you go in great detail when it involves blacks. It's amazing.
No, that's your imagination.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
you stand corrected. I accept your apology. Go drink some tea.
But yeah, I was want to correct you on your law and order thing. On one side, you're all for law and order, and then when certain folks attack them, you make excuses for them or say it ain't that bad or whatever.
I mean, reality was it was mostly peaceful.
Well, mostly peaceful. So was the marches mostly peaceful.
I know.
Of Black Lives Matter.
That's why I'm making a mockery of you people.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, man, I've enjoyed talking with you, Earl. Let's talk again another day.
Adios, amigos.
All right. Very nice. Hot Computer Smell gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report and said, yesterday's show was amazing. Nice. Romel seems a bit spurgy, but thanks for letting him give his catharsis on a story he knew next to nothing about. Yeah. Romel was an interesting caller on my show. Thank you for that call, Romel. I had him on for like 20 minutes yesterday. Check it out if you're interested. He kind of went very passionate towards the end there, and it was kind of talked out of both sides of his mouth, in my opinion. Let me get to Rick in Maine, wants to comment on this Jim Crow and slavery mess. Rick, how are you doing?
Not bad, my friend. How are you today?
I'm fine as well, thank you.
All right. Well, I'm listening to everybody like Earl and T and all these other clowns that are no more than demon rats.
Yep.
Hey, guys, this is 2021. That crap no longer exists. Get over it.
Yep.
If you can't get over it, then take your diaper and put it back on, you child.
Yeah, I
Somebody
agree.
needs to give you a good old-fashioned smack on the backside.
Yeah.
Or one in the face to wake you up.
It's
You know,
very...
This is what really gets me, James, is they keep grinding on this BS, I'll be nice,
Right.
again and again and again and again. It's over.
I know.
Get over it.
And they're lying about what actually happened, too. It's just such revisionist history. It's counterfactual, as Joe Biden claims. You know, Rick, that's why they do it, is not only to stir up the blacks to be angry and resentful about something they have nothing to do with, but also to get under the skin of sane people and turn you insane with anger at the ridiculousness, because it's insanity. How to make a liberal mad? Tell them the truth. How to make a conservative mad? Lie to them. And they lie and lie and lie. Obama was good at this. He trolled people and trolled conservatives and drove some of them nuts. And so keep it cool. Just expect it. They're not going to stop. They're evil. You can't expect the world to be sane.
Then that would put them only into one category: demon rats.
Exactly. I totally agree.
God help you.
Nice.
God help you, people.
Yep.
God help you. Because I would not want to be wearing your shoes when it comes time to meet the Maker.
Yep. That's why we got to be perfect, Rick. Because otherwise, the people who are being lied to and falling for this stuff, some of them are brainwashed in it, born and bred and marinated in it, as Oprah said about the so-called old white racists. The blacks and the Hispanics and now many whites are born and bred and marinated in this communistic revisionist history lie about America, about fake racism, fake genocide, fake legends about slavery and how terrible it was. Just over-the-top drama and pretense that the racism is still going on today and the cops are evil and Trump was evil and whites and Christians are evil and an anti-LGBT church has no place in friendly Almonte, California. I just learned about some church that was bombed for allegedly for being normal Christians, basically.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, they want you evil, though. They want you evil. They want to turn you angry at this madness.
They follow. It just shows the level of their intelligence when they have to get on the air and spew this repeated crap.
Yeah.
If they can't come up with a decent subject to talk about, don't talk.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I hate no one. I don't care what race. There's only one on the earth. Human ethnicity. I have nothing against any ethnicity. But I let them make their own outline to me on how they are.
Right.
And then I'll go from that point.
And everybody knows that. They're just pretending to believe that you're racist. Actually, some of them are brainwashed and deluded enough to really think that. Some of them. But it's a mess.
Anybody that thinks a white man or a black man or an American Indian or whatever ethnic group is a racist, they have been drinking too much Kool-Aid. And they got to lay off of it. Eventually, it's driving them crazy, which in turn brings up my point. Get over it.
Yeah.
Because the simple fact is you're not going to accomplish a single thing going on the same track that you're on. As I was told years ago, even if you're on the same track, you're going to get run over if you just sit there.
Yeah. And that's what's happening to America.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Rick. It's good to hear from you.
Take care, my friend.
All right.
Always good to talk with you.
You too. Take care. Before I get to the rest of the callers, let me tell you about this communistic outlet, speaking of everything's racist, that where I've learned that blue lives is white supremacist linked. This is from the Daily Beast. It's about this, the Gracies, Henner, I guess is how it's pronounced according to Joel. Blue Lives Matter is white supremacist. And it's about the Gracies, or this Henner Gracie, which is spelled with an R instead of an H, but it's pronounced Henner. Those Portuguese-speaking Brazilians, right? Must be the why that's like that, right? He trains cops. This is the headline. He trains cops. His jiu-jitsu family has deep ties to the far right, which probably just means center right, maybe center left, maybe even. Hundreds of police departments take Gracie survival tactics, and I have some screenshots of this article and an excerpt of it. And you know, Gracie Survivor Tactics is a defense program, self-defense, in using jiu-jitsu. The family has ties to the far right dating back to the 1930s. Henner Gracie. I always thought it was Rener Gracie. And these are pictures of some of these guys, Brazilians. A Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert has dismissed measures to legally rein in police chokeholds. You know, there's all this drama about chokeholds, especially after Eric Garner died, the fat one, over in New York. Eric Garner, he's all, this ends today, because he was getting so-called harassed by cops. Sold Lucy cigarettes. Allegedly, he'd just broken up a fight, but he was, Lucy cigarettes are when people sell cigarettes to undermine the highly taxed cigarette sales of liquor stores and regular stores, because they have to pay major taxes, heavily taxed. Thanks, Democrats, right? So this guy was getting so-called harassed by cops, really harassed by the law, which was written by the liberals, right? Meddling in people's lives. They grabbed him with a seatbelt hold. It was called a choke hold, and it was called a homicide. This guy was a normal person, wouldn't have died from this takedown, right? But this guy died. He's all, I can't breathe. And so they're like, no more choke holds. And this is probably a long time coming. They've been wanting to hamstring the police, tie two hands behind their back so that the criminals can run wild and not be discriminated against by the cops for breaking the law. And proposals to defund departments driven by Black Lives Matter, which is pure evil. So the Gracies oppose all that madness, of course, right on. Since the 1920s, his grandfather, Elio Gracie, I don't know, and his granduncles pioneered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His suggestions belie the Gracie family's history of racism and aligning with far-right movements. What, for opposing banning police chokeholds and defunding the police? Police need more funding. And they need more police, especially in these high-crime areas. More police, less death. It's a fact. Look it up. CrimeResearch.org has the facts. Dr. John R. Lott Jr. More quote. This is more quote from this dumb article. Daily Beast, it's far left. I think Hillary Clinton's daughter sits on the board. In the waning months, or did anyway, in the waning months of 2020, Henner, spelled with an R, stood out among his family members because he did not directly quote Nazis or have the white supremacist associated Blue Lives Matter symbol attached to his martial arts franchise. What? White supremacist affiliated Blue Lives Matter symbol. Okay. So anything that's not anti-cop is white supremacist, apparently. Well, cops did originate from slave patrols? Because we didn't want runaway slaves to just be able to get away with running away. You have to catch them and bring them back. And so I guess we started cops to fix that problem. We've always been about law and order, whether we had slavery or abortion or whatever. Law and order. Anyway, so they're talking about his social media presence is devoid of references to the coup attempt in D.C. It was not a coup attempt. The coup was what happened to the president, Trump. That was the coup. Not this D.C. riot, Capitol riot. Anyway, he has been offering police chiefs a strategy for responding to demands for downsized departments through his newly updated Gracie Survival Tactics program. Yeah, because cops, they do anything. They will lose their job. Even if they do their job, they lose their job. Case in point, former officer Darren Wilson. He didn't have to do any takedown, but he did have to shoot Mike Brown in self-defense. And then he was fired for doing his job, and he had to go into hiding. According to Henner, enrolling in his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes will make cops feel more in control during arrests and less likely to lash out because of stress or frustration. Very nice. Very reasonable. But these are just physical tactics to the spiritual problem of evil people hate cops and smear the innocent and uplift the guilty. Evil people, also communists. If police finesse their approach to taking people down, he reasons, there would be fewer viral videos of cops using weapons, sparking public outcry. Yeah, because the layperson has no clue what cops have to do to take a person down. It looks so brutal. And in all honesty, cops are supposed to have brute force, be brutal when called for. And in many cases, these things are called for. Henner champions his grandfather's legacy. Royce is pronounced Hoyce? What? My world is turning upside down. I mean, they're claiming that Elio has ties to fascism, and give me a break. Yeah, a lot of South American people are accused of this stuff. And who knows what's going on? I mean, this is a major, socialism problem, communism problem down there, too. Maybe that's why they're more far-right I don't know, who knows? Even if they are. All it takes is one use of force incident perceived as excessive force by the public, this is a quote, to go viral and your city, and you have riots, you have fires. This is so true. Sometimes the entire country feels the impact of a use of force disaster that happened on your watch, Henner said in October 30th in his pitch to police chiefs. We have to place value on the training more effective than any other training or skill set to the regular training of jiu-jitsu. He's right about that because the layperson, you have to make it look easy. Because sometimes these Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, they do something to a suspect, and you can't even tell it's doing anything to the person, and then he taps out right away. Like, what? But anyway, this article is written by a fan of MMA, mixed martial arts, named Simi Kadirgamar. And I have pictures of this guy that I'll show you very briefly. But according to the Daily Beast, this Simi Kadirgamar is a woman, according to this person, is a woman. A freelance writer, a researcher, and a fact checker based in New York City. She has written about South Asia and the far right. And I found, quote unquote, her Instagram. And it's a bit shocking. I don't know. I don't know how this person checks facts. Needs to fact check, quote unquote, herself. In short, I have suspicions that this might be a transgender writer. I don't know.
These pictures are them?
Yes. He goes, it's a she, her. It's not a them. Respect the pronouns. Chris asked, these pictures is a them? This is, it's terrible. Okay, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. My eyes. What has been seen cannot be unseen. A bit traumatic. Yeah, that's a fact checker. These are the people in charge of your institutions, your respected institutions, the fourth estate, or is it the fourth estate, the media? Fifth estate, whatever. Anyway, craziness. Let me get to Keith in Illinois. wants to talk about some history. Keith, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I want to talk about some things I was talking to my wife, and she's been following these Democrats and believing all they hype. So I said that she was talking about the 40 acres and the mule. I said, well, guess who took away the 40 acres and the mule?
So 40 acres and a mule is what was supposedly going to be given or was given in some cases
It was going to be given. It was going to be given by the Republicans, the ones that freed the slaves.
To freed slaves, right? Was it
Right.
was it taken? Wasn't land forcibly taken from whites and given to blacks sometimes?
No. See, this is what I want to talk about. When Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Jackson became president. He was a Democratic president. He took away the 40 acres and the mule. The Republicans was giving them 40 acres and a mule. I told her that, and she Googled it. She's like, yeah, you're right. I said, it's amazing how you keep electing these Democrats, the former slave owners, the former Jim Crow people. Well, not former, because to me, they're still doing the same thing. But they were the Jim Crow people. They were the slave owners, and they took away the 40 acres and the mule. Why are these people so in love with these Democrats that really, enslaved them and taking away everything from them?
Yeah, I don't know much about that story. I've heard things like, every slave was supposed to be given freed slave, right? Was supposed to be given 40 acres and a mule, and I thought that it happened at least for some, but I guess didn't happen. So Andrew Jackson, but he's getting smeared.
After they assassinated Lincoln, he told them they couldn't have the 40 acres and mule because he became the president, the next president, after he was assassinated. So the Democrat that they love so much, took away their 40 acres and a mule. She looked it up on Google, and it was true. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she looked it real dumb when she looked it up on Google.
Oh, that's funny.
It was always. I said, so when I'm saying it's like, Earl, I know you listening. Sound like you about 89 years old, can't breathe. Sound like a little short, little fat, little black guy. Because every time you talk, sound like you can't breathe.
I'm curious what he looks like. Yeah, I don't know.
He's a little short, little fat. Trust me, he sounds like a little short. Now I'm 62. You know what I'm saying? But I'm 6'2", 230 pounds. I've been pumping iron all my life. You know
nice.
Whatever. I don't sound like Earl, like I'm about ready to run out of breath every time I say it. Okay.
But Andrew Jackson was a great president, from what I hear. And I don't know about this 40 acres and a mule thing. There's a whole lot of... Andrew Johnson. Oh, not Andrew Jackson. Okay.
Oh, Johnson. Okay,
Johnson.
Which one was it now?
Andrew Johnson. Took away the...
Andrew Jackson is significantly before Lincoln. It's Andrew Johnson.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, this is Andrew Johnson that took away the 40 acres. He was a Democrat.
Okay. And it's not that he took it away. He stopped the giving.
He stopped it from happening. Okay. He stopped it from happening.
Okay.
My point is, he's a Democrat, Earl, and the rest of y'all that love these Democrats. He was a Democrat, the same one that enslaved you all. They all Democrats. Jim Crow Joe, they all Democrats. If you look at Chicago, a black Democratic mayor, and there's been 4,000 shootings, 769 murders.
Yeah.
But Earl don't bring that up. Earl and all the rest of Tony, all them people don't bring that up. That's Chicago alone. They don't bring up the fact that all this is going on. The Black Lives Matter burned down just as many black businesses or more as they did anybody's business. They don't talk about that in all the murders that the Black Lives Matter done and all the riots and all the, you know what I'm saying, and how much damage they did to black people. And another thing, Blue Lives Matter, do you realize how many cops are black, Asian, and Hispanic?
I know.
I mean, come on, half of them.
Right. And white cop lives don't matter? Give me a break.
Right, because, I mean, if you're saying that, then half the cops are, black, Asian, and Hispanic.
Yeah.
It's like going against, again, that's how stupid these people like Earl and the rest of them are, these so-called black activists or whatever these people are. They are so ignorant. They're going against black people. And every time they go, they're going against black people, and that's why they lose every time in their communities and everything because, half the cops are black, Asian, and Hispanic.
Yeah. No, and that's like just a side note too, because they shouldn't even be hating the whites.
No,
the whites are not their problem.
100%. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And it never brings up the fact that Republicans freed the slaves, and most of them were white people that died on the battlefield to free them. Okay,
on both sides.
They never bring that up that the white Democrats, okay, the ones that they love and honor and worship so much from CNN and NBC, the ones they love so much, were the ones that had them enslaved. It's ridiculous.
Well, man, I know that this history stuff about the Republican Party and the Democrat Party has I guess that's changed some of the minds of the black people. Like, I know that Andrew Tatum brought that up, and because he used to be kind of into this thing, former guest of the Jesse Lee Peterson show. But to me, the bigger point and the worst problem, Democrats today are way worse than they've ever been. They're just pure evil today.
I agree, because I used to be a Democrat myself. Now, when I was growing up, it wasn't this bad. I mean, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. I'm not going to lie. But, I think that the more they got bought out by China and different interest groups, and one of the, the socialists or the what I call globalists,
right?
They became more rich. Now, you look at all the Democratic, politicians. Now, most of them are millionaires now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they sold out the country. That's all that happened. I remember when Ice Cube was talking to that old fat ham-hock-looking guy. What's his name?
Roland Martin?
Yeah, that's probably that. I think Earl looks just like Roland Martin. Looks like a ham hock with eyeballs. I think that's Earl looks.
I don't know. Maybe he's skinny. Who knows?
No, I doubt that. He sounds fat, short, and that's how he sounds. So, I'm black. I know how them people sound. I talk to them. But anyway, when Ice Cube brought up the fact that 7,000 black people have been put in office, and black people haven't moved an inch, Roland Martin changed the whole conversation. They all sellouts. It's amazing to me. They call Jesse Lee Peterson sellout. They don't call drug dealers. They don't call gang members.
Right.
They don't call pimps. They don't call bad politicians, bad preachers. They don't call them sellouts now. They don't call them sellouts. Those are the people who really selling out our people. But they won't call them sellouts for nothing in this world. They will not do it.
Interesting, man. Well, here's a little alternative facts for you with regard to this history stuff.
Okay.
This is from Trovo Chat. The radical Republicans of the Reconstruction era were the Antifa of their time. They were as radical as any Marxist alive today. The Democrat Party in this post-Civil War era was the party that supported white interests, and also like they were having their land appropriated by an occupying force, meaning they were trying to secede from the Union and have their independence. And then the North that pretended to love black people, but most of them didn't, and pretended to be for what's right. Many of them were not. Like, there were good and bad people of both sides, refused to let them secede. And that's when we started having that crazy war. And like 600,000 Americans on both sides died in that crazy war. And so, like, what they tell us about history, what that tells me is what they tell us about history is slanted. You know what I mean? And this thing about what was best for blacks and Democrats of those time were evil back then too. I don't know. I just know what's going on today, and what today it's pure evil what the Democrats are up to, and the Republicans are weak.
Right, and I agree. The Republicans are weak, and they never did really reach out to black people and different minorities. I always felt like the Democrats were going to these neighborhoods and these churches when the Republicans never did. It's like, and then they're getting old, and I feel like they never did do a good job presenting themselves and telling the truth about the Democrats and what they've done to black people. So I feel like, wow, you never did a good job. That's really why.
Yeah, they're cowards. They can't stand on the truth, and that's why. Yeah, that's why they're losing.
Yeah, because it's like, wow, you didn't do a good job of presenting your party.
Yep.
And number two is like, with Joe Biden and all these different, other groups in here, they just move in black neighborhoods. They take their job. Now, when I was growing up, as a young black male, you could get a job in all the warehouses, Ford and in different places. Well, I'm not hating on the Hispanics because I'm not that kind of person. But when they came in, a lot of blacks had the result, which is not giving them an excuse. I'm not. But when they started, doing more crime to get money, sell drugs, robberies and like that, because the Hispanics had taken their jobs, and Trump talked about that. They're taking their jobs.
It's like all this special interest stuff, like, I'm going to vote for Democrats because it's going to help the Hispanics or it's going to help the blacks. How about let's do it for the country based on what's right? It was wrong to bring all these immigrants in. Yeah. And it's wrong to kiss up to blacks and pretend they're victims of racism. Yeah. It's wrong to be a coward and not tell the truth. So the Democrats and most of the Republicans are wrong. Anyway, I appreciate it, Keith. I got to run. We're at the top of the hour. Good call.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Hake.
All right.
And, the rest of you guys have a good one, man.
All right, you too. I'm going to get to the rest of the callers. And speaking of weak Republicans, maybe before I get to the callers, I'm going to talk about this Washington, D.C. simp, meaning Kissup, Adam Kinzinger. But anyway, first, I got to take a quick break, couple of minutes here. I'll be right back. Hang tight and enjoy this little song in the meantime. And we're back, guys. I love boomers. You gotta love boomers, man. Tell the truth, be patient, because people can be dense. Who is more evil, the enemy who openly tries to destroy you, or the person who claims to be your defender who enables your enemy? It's a good question. That's a good question. I guess I don't know. At that point, I don't know. It's a good question. Who is your bigger enemy, Chuck Schumer, who says he will do evil and does it, or Mitch McConnell, who says he will oppose him and then steps aside and says, go ahead, Chuck, under his breath? Yeah. Mitch McConnell was quick to abandon America and Americans and our real great president, Donald J. Trump. Once it looked like he didn't have the power to wield over him, right? Once it looked like Trump was losing his power, quick to abandon. It happens all the time amongst the decent and the evil people in the world. Bill Cosby, taken down once it looked like he was going down, once it looked like it was safe to attack, they attacked him. Nasty. No loyalty. You know how President Trump wanted loyalty? A lot of people lacked loyalty. No real friends. Quick point. The lines are full, guys. I will get to your calls. Let me tell you about Washington, D.C. Kissup, which is almost redundant to say Washington, D.C. and Kissup, because that's all Washington, D.C. is. It is just a sick swamp of disgusting kissupness. Kinzinger, Adam Kinzinger, who is a from the start, he was an anti-Trump politician. Elected in 2009, 2010, I guess, to Congress. He rode the Tea Party wave. He was endorsed by Sarah Palin. This guy was born in 1978 in Illinois, 42 years old, I guess, almost 43. Raised mostly in Bloomington, Illinois, or Illinois, I think, not Indiana. The son of Betty Jo, an elementary school teacher. How quaint. And Russ Kinzinger, Russ with one S, a CEO of faith-based organizations, this guy. And doesn't he look like he was raised Christian? Joel is showing a picture of him from his social media with his Latina wife, whom he just married in 2020, a year ago. This man graduated, and I use the term man loosely, from high school in 1996. Young dummy like the people I went to high school with. I know people who graduated in 96. This guy was a senior when I was a freshman. And doesn't he look like he should be a Chad, like a good-looking and strong man, but nope, weak within. So common in America, right? Bachelor's degree in, get this, political science. Oh, maybe that explains it. I don't know. From Illinois State University in 2000. Corrupt. 1998, when he was a college student, he ran for county board member in McLean County, Illinois. He won at age 20. So he's one of those involved politician type young people. And most of those guys, you know them, I know them, and we don't trust them. Something about them, just phony, almost coached. I've never seen this guy talk, to my knowledge, but the way he talks, the way he writes, a phony person. He resigned in 2003 from that board position to join the Air Force. This was amidst the, is this George W. Bush? Yeah, that was George W. Bush stuff. Join the Air Force. Okay, Air Force. And he was already a college graduate, so he would be very safe. I mean, he flew, right? He flew an airplane, right? He flew airplanes, I think. But joining the Air Force, that's what you join to stay away from actual fighting. Women join the Air Force. And men do too, right? They do. They should. Women probably shouldn't. But he already was a graduate, so that means he's going to be like a leadership position type person, right? And that he was already a politician at this point. And so he met with Republican U.S. congressmen. Mike Pence was a congressman at this point. Then VP. Mark Kirk and Peter Roskam in January 2009 to discuss a possible run for Congress. He was endorsed by former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, as well as, and whatever. I used to like her. I kind of still like her, but she needs to tend to herself and family. As well as Chicago Tribune and Chicago Sun-Times endorsed this guy. What does that tell you? For liberal newspapers like those to endorse you in the general election. So I guess so much for being a Tea Party guy. He was, he was endorsed by Sarah Palin, who we felt like was a Tea Party type lady, but as part of his continued service, I think there was too much female involvement with the Tea Party and with the pro-life movement today and all that stuff. It's just kissing up to this anti-man push. Oh, a woman. Give me a break. He was actually deployed to the border in February of 2019. Did you know that? Maintain border security. Air National Guard. But in 2016, this guy announced publicly he would not support GOP presidential nominee Donald J. Trump. August 2016, this guy, sleazy guy. Why even call yourself a Republican? He says, I'm an American before I'm a Republican. He told CNN, he went on CNN and claimed that he's an American, talking to Wolf Blitzer. I'm a Republican because I believe that republicanism is the best way to defend the United States of America. Trump throws all these Republican principles on their head. Whatever. Not true. So this guy, his wife, He got married last February to Sophia Bosa-Holman. Don't know the story behind her hyphenated last name, but good for her. She changed her last name on her social media, Sophia B. Kinzinger. But this woman is another DC kiss-up person. By the way, they had a destination wedding in Guatemala. According to Yashar Ali, a Huffington Post journalist, writer guy, liberal guy on Twitter, SJW. In 2019, Representative Kinzinger took this photo with Pence and his then fiance, Sophia Bosa-Holman, and the second lady too, Mike Pence's wife. Sophia, this guy's now wife, Latina lady that he married. And Kinzinger is a white guy, I think. This woman was the vice president's she worked for Pence. And by the way, he was a target. Kinzinger was a target of Trump supporters for not supporting Trump when he said he wouldn't vote for Trump. Right on. But this woman was previously a communications advisor for RINO, Speaker of the House. If you're familiar with the Tea Party days, and if you're familiar with a little, 10 years, 12 years back, you know this, or 7 years back, really. John Boehner. She worked for John Boehner as a communications advisor, one of the chief rhinos. He was like the Mitch McConnell of back then. And he was maybe worse than John Boehner. Than Mitch McConnell, if that's even possible. You know how Mitch McConnell is a total rhino, a backstabber, a traitor to the Republicans, to America, all that, a total kiss-up. Same with John Boehner. Nancy Pelosi kissed him, and he just did whatever she wanted. John Boehner. He would cry. He was a smoker, I think. He fought for legalizing weed. Just all the stuff that's so important for America. So key to making America great, right? And then she was, get this, Hispanic media press secretary, this wife of Kinzinger, however you say his name. Hispanic media press secretary for the RNC in 2016. In other words, one of those rhino kiss-ups to the Latino population. That's the last thing we need, all this kissing up. Then somehow she got into the White House and even was involved in the Department of Homeland Security. What is it with putting all these women as communications people? I guess that's to kiss up to the media because the media is so female-oriented. I don't know. It's a bad idea. And the men are female-minded too, honestly. Anyway, this Kinzinger guy, he was previously engaged to a fellow Air Force woman back in 2011, 2012, but he broke it off. A captain. A female captain, Ricky Myers. Reminds me of Captain... Isn't there a female superhero called Captain something? Captain Justice or Captain something cringy. Doesn't even seem feminine. Not very feminine. Not very ladylike. What is that? Captain Avenger. No, it's not Wonder Woman. Captain Marvel, yeah. No, Wonder Woman at least has woman in it. It sounds like... And Wonder, that sounds female. Yeah, Captain Marvel. What the heck? Stop calling women... Don't... Anyway, that's enough of that. I got to get to calls. Let me talk with Victoria in Arizona. She's been on hold forever. Wants to ask a question. Why can't people get over slavery? Victoria, how are you doing?
Hi, just took a drink. Sorry, bro.
No problem.
I'm doing well. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. I watch you all the time, but I haven't called in.
Appreciate you calling in and
but
holding.
I feel like, for you. Hey, how's Heather, by the way? No.
Heather? Oh, I think you got your H names mixed up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I guess. Maybe.
Right.
That girl that says that you're going to marry her, I think it's great. I want to know about it one day.
That's funny.
But here, I'm just going to be straight up truth because anymore now, Hake, listen, bro, I have been listening to Jesse. I'll tell you exactly when. July 9th, 3 years ago. Okay. And I know the truth now. I know me. I don't like to be told who I am, what I should think.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a lot of feel anymore, like the earthly feel. But it's...
You mean like emotions and stuff?
Yeah, I'm not into that stuff like
Cool.
that. But it's like I used to be, because let's talk about victimhood. I'm a woman, of course, and before knowing the truth and knowing God and knowing Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and I'm being taught every day. And by the way, if you people out there don't agree with Jesse, I mean, you don't have to agree with everything, but just listen. Because I didn't agree with a lot of his stuff, but I agree with everything now.
Nice.
Everything.
Yeah. That's cool.
100%. But the world likes to keep you a victim, and it's not just black people. They like to keep women, and women play the victimhood really well, better than anybody.
Yeah. You saw what happened with A.O. Cortez?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You know, but here, and I wanted to lead into that.
So you didn't fall for that at all, huh?
Oh, no, because I was raped, a true drug and rape. And you could look it up. I could tell you about my case.
It's in the media?
It was in the media years ago, yes. And high profile, I'll say that. And it happened in Seattle. So if you guys want to remember anything about that around 1990, let's go there. And that was after I was blown up by a bomb. Okay, so I told you about that when I worked for the post office. And an Aryan Nation group over in Hayden Lake, Idaho, sent it through. Now, we found out, many months, almost a year later after the bomb went off, because I was blown up by it. And when I found out it was Aryan Nation, I was just like, wow, like those guys really hate people. I didn't look at them as white. I just knew that they were people that hated people.
Right.
It didn't matter the color. You know, I'm white and I worked for the post office. I was a bulk mail handler. And there was a lot of stuff that you didn't hear about out there in the government. But there's a lot of bombs that go through, especially in the 80s. Mm-hmm. There were. And, and I was raped by black guys as well, and, with Jesse, though, and the world wanted to make me a victim.
Right.
Because, you know what I'm saying? Look, at 15, I watched my boyfriend blow his head off in front of me, 5 feet in front of me. I picked his bone and flesh out of my hair. And
that's graphic.
My dad, but I did. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And he committed suicide, and it was horrible. Because I broke up with him. But here's the thing. My dad would have helped me through it if my mom naturally. But my mom wanted to take me to a psychiatrist because my school told me to.
Yeah.
My high school,
Are you a Gen Xer?
Right? No, I'm not. I'm a boomer.
Okay. Wow. Even back then, they were relying on this communistic.
Look, I think that the 60s, because I was there, I think that the 60s is just another playbook from the communists that was happening in the 60s. It was the Black Panther Party. Now it's Black Lives Matter. It was the hippies versus the guys that were going over to fight in Vietnam. It was the hippies fighting against, calling our guys baby killers when they came home and such, and treating them. It's the same playbook.
That's
if
funny.
They just up their game a bit,
And today they're the ones who are supporting killing babies in the womb. And it's
exactly.
I referenced that thing because it sounds like your mother relied more on the so-called experts in the fake science of psychology and psychiatry rather than the traditional common sense moral leadership of the father, the man, the Christians, Christianity, the church leader, whatever. And so it's putting a false faith in this fake subverted science. What a mess. Anyway, Yeah.
But and of course that led into giving me depression medicine, which I'd never been on. I didn't even know they had the stuff back then.
Me neither.
And all that other junk, you know, they wanted to put me on, I think they had me on Valium or something, and I didn't want to take the medicine, but my mom, like, gave it to me because she said, oh, look what you just went through.
And your father let your mother do that? Were they together?
Yeah, they were together, but, you know, I said before, they both worked, right? And a lot of times I was just there with my brother and sister, and I told you my brother was beta, so...
And so your mother ran the show, huh?
Well, no, but I told you my dad...
In terms of what happened with you, though, after that incident.
Well, because the school got involved, because I was...
Wow.
They said because I was under depression and I had this post-traumatic stress and all this. You know what? I've been told I've had PTSD my whole life. And now you know what? I have forgiven every single person.
Nice.
I've forgiven my old boyfriend. It just happened. Things happen in this world, man. Just put it out there. It's the truth. But it's people like me. I was a truth seeker since I was 18. Not before then, because my parents weren't church-going at all, and Jesus was never spoke about in our home. So at 18, I started on my own journey and didn't realize it. But I questioned, see?
Yeah.
And it's like now it's like and I'm actually friends with 3 of the guys that were the black guys that were involved in the rape because James, I take responsibility for my actions that night.
Oh,
and
okay.
So,
that's why we need to victim blame.
There's 2 sides to every story. And was I right? No, because Jesus said, trust no man, but I trusted them.
Oh.
Because I've trusted other football players before that didn't do that to me. So you understand?
Yeah.
So when I wasn't, if I had been this way now, if I had been God's daughter instead of what I was back then and wanting to be victim, you know, play the victim because everybody feels so sorry for you and it feels so good that everybody feels so sorry.
Right.
And it's just a never ending. And look, my shackles and chains from this world are being broken like crazy.
Nice.
Like God it's amazing. Our Father is amazing. And if you guys, please out there, the whole world, I'm not just talking, James, you know what I'm saying? We can all come together. I have no ill will for my past. I don't even care about it. The only people that bring my past up to me is either my family that I don't get along with, and that's just fine with me too, or friends that cannot let things go.
Right.
And it's just the truth. I'm not lying. When you know God and you know yourself and you know that you know, like Jesse says, when you know, you don't need no one else to teach you anything. God teaches us. And I'm so grateful for him. Like,
nice.
This is amazing. Who wouldn't want this life that you can feel peace through all of this mess, okay?
Right.
No matter what you go through, you can feel peace because Jesus was here and he went through a whole lot and he helps me. He strengthens me. So please, you all, please, I love you all from within so much. Please listen to Jesse.
Yep.
Open your minds and quit being a victim.
Definitely. I'm glad that you didn't fall. We need people to point out this mockery that Cortez is doing because it's so phony.
No,
like I don't know how anybody falls for it.
She's a liar. I can tell she's lying about it. Her actions.
Yeah.
Like when it really happens to you, you really don't want to talk about it. Okay,
right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I can tell.
True.
There is discernment, and discernment is way different than judging. And I just know that she's lying. I know that I know, and you can't convince me otherwise. But anyway,
she's a liar.
I love you, bro.
Thank you,
love
Victoria.
you all so much. And, I love the world. Just follow what Jesse's doing. It helped me, and I was on medication for years, and I'm off of everything. this is the truth. This is your way back home, man. And if you say that you love God, then seek him out. You're not going to find him unless you go look for him.
Thank you,
Don't
Victoria.
sit there.
Right on.
Yeah, man, I love you, bro. Tell Jesse, give him a hug for me. Come on, just be a little beta and give him a hug for me.
Okay,
so I can get over there.
All right, Victoria, take care.
Love
Appreciate
you guys.
You.
God bless.
You too.
Man, love you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. Yup. I've heard stories like that. And they say, oh, they should never forgive. No, you have to. I don't know if you have to be friends with them. Let me get to Blake, a first-time caller in North Carolina. He actually wants to talk about a name that I haven't heard in a little while. I almost forgot who it is. David Dorn. What's up, Blake? How are you doing?
Hey, doing good, James. How are you doing?
I'm fine as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up Joe Biden at the Capitol Hill cop's funeral this morning. He's acting all heartbroken.
Oh.
24 cops were killed in the BLM riots in 2020.
Right.
By David Dorn, shot in the head by a looter and filmed dying in front of the business.
Yes.
Trying to protect
77-year-old retired police captain
and
going to protect his friend's business. Yeah. And he was shot in the head. Killed.
The media were too busy gaslighting and smearing cops as racist murderers.
Yep.
And now they expect us to believe they're heartbroken about this.
Yeah, give me a break. It's so phony.
And the clip of Joe this morning at the memorial, he didn't even know where he was. He looked like he didn't even know what he was being sad about.
Yep.
I mean, the man has full-blown dementia.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
I don't know. He might. You're probably right.
A wheelchair ramp at the White House for him at some point.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, he walks very gingerly, and I can relate. I had a beta back. But, yeah, interesting. Total phony. Yeah, when I mentioned that they laid the body, or the urn, really, the ashes, of that police officer who died after the Capitol Hill riot, supposedly he was injured by the riot. It's still being investigated. Don't know exactly what happened.
He got hit in the head, but this man was shot point blank. Twice.
Right. Yeah. No, I saw Nancy Pelosi talking, running her mouth for too long.
Oh,
and so I just talked about what
crew out there this morning.
Oh yeah. No, it's honored by evil people and some decent people. He was honored, flags flown at half staff after it happened by President Trump, on order from President Trump.
Right. We didn't hear about that, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, James.
Thank you, Blake. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Gary in New York City wants to ask me about haters. First-time caller. What's up, Gary?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So my thing is, as soon as I went online today, I clicked on your show to see what's going on, and I see that, I hear the same hater that always calls in.
Right.
And it's the same guys, Tony and Earl and, that other lady, Maze and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm a young black man, or if you want to consider 30, whatever, a young black man or old, whatever. But it's like, you guys are really old, like way older than me.
Yeah.
And do you really want to die knowing that the black community right now is in shambles?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And be on the wrong side. Be on the side that's cheerleading its death. It's destruction.
It makes no sense to me. And then you trying to go after Jesse and go after James when they're trying to make change. Like, with this president, with the past president, Trump, we've seen more black conservatives than ever.
Right. Because he's so,
like,
I think it's because he's just a genuine person. I think it's more than any of the Kissup stuff that he did, the opportunity zones and all that stuff. I think it's because he's a genuine person and not a phony politician.
And he's been doing it. You can't fake working with black people for 40 years.
I know. Yeah. He's always been a little too nice to the blacks, working with the NAACP or whatever, or being honored by them.
Giving money to the colleges, and now they don't even want to acknowledge him. It's like, you
exactly.
can't fake that.
Yep, backstabbers.
But for you to just turn yourself on Trump, of all the things he's done, that means you're fake.
Right. Very true.
Just for him to become president, I would think that, all right, this guy's been helping me. That, let's say we have a job, me and him are working at a job, and he's always looked out for me, and he makes vice president of the job. That means he's going to look out for me even more.
Right.
Because we were working in the same thing. But to just hear Mays and Earl and T, the same guys all the time, it's just embarrassing. Because it's like, when I work with white people, you know what I mean, at my job or whatever, and I do certain things, it's like I have to answer for these young black kids doing stupid stuff and these old black people that don't even want to acknowledge that, yo, you're not changing.
Yeah.
You're not growing. So it's like, I would like for you to ask them the question, because you know they're going to call back, or you know they're probably listening, like, do you want to die knowing that the black community is in shambles?
Right.
And if so, why would you want to attack individuals that are making change? I've never heard about Jesse Lee Peterson until Trump became president.
Nice.
And through that, you know, we seen the rise of a Candace Owens, and you know, a guy like a Tommy Sotomayor or a JBL, and I don't want to shout out any other YouTuber, but these are black people that are condemning the bad behavior of other blacks in the streets. So it's like, well, we're actually seeing change, and I don't think it's right that all elders are just trying to prevent that change from happening.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, man. That just shows you that.
Just please ask them that.
If I remember, I definitely will, because I bring it up sometimes, the fact that Earl and Tony are as old as they are, and Mays too, and Mays is very cagey on what she actually believes. She just says Democrats, Republicans, the same thing. But those others are they hate Jesse. They undermine Jesse and pretend like, oh, he doesn't stand for what's right. And because I'm telling stuff that just speaking my mind, oh, I'm a little baby Hitler. Give me a break.
I've seen. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go for it.
I've seen my first dead body at the age of 7 years old, and me and my friends were playing in front of a church, and you know, some guys they were arguing in front of a store, and then like a shootout happened, and we ran to the body, and we saw a dead body on the floor, and then when the ambulance came, nobody that was black or Hispanic, nobody just tried to help this person. And we just saw this person bleed out. And it's like, from there, I was like, from 7 years old, I knew something was wrong with the black community, because nobody tried to help this person. Yeah. And, you know, as I'm in my 30s now, I've seen a lot of my friends shot or in jail. And it's like nothing has changed. So I never seen a white man hang a black man off a tree.
I know.
I've never seen a white man or a group of white men burn a black man, you know, alive and stuff like that, and tie him to the tree. That's probably in their days. I don't even think it was in their days, but it's like, dude, it's not what's today. It's not what we're seeing, and it's like what we're seeing right now is black cops getting shot and black people burning stuff up, and it's like, that's not going to change things, and you're going to die seeing that nothing's good's going to come out of this. Right.
Yeah. No, it's serious, and especially like Tony, everything's a joke to him. He's not a serious person at all.
But that's the thing. That's the black community right now in a nutshell. Everything's a joke.
Yep.
Everything's a joke, and it's like, I can't answer for all of the nonsense that's going on to white people, to Hispanics that want to know that never been around black people before. But I have to face the repercussions when I walk into a store and I get followed. Right. Because they think I'm going to steal something.
Do you resent it when that happens?
Oh, yeah. There's around my way, there's so many robberies and younger kids running in stores and snatching up clothing and stuff like that. So when I go in now, even if I'm cool with the manager, he might think I orchestrated it, and I'm paying.
Yeah.
And I'm paying money. So it's like I can't differentiate myself from them.
Right.
And it's crazy. And it's like when I hear these guys call in, it's like they're lonely because why would they call a racist? Why would they call a so-called racist baby Hitler to sound off every single time? These guys are lonely, and it's like, yo, this is my message from one more time, guys. Y'all are old, and it's a sad thing that you're gonna be old and die with this hate in your heart.
Yeah.
Because it's not helping us. It's not helping the younger generation with all this, talking down to James and calling Jesse these names and stuff like that. It just doesn't help. So
yeah.
Thank you for your time, man.
Appreciate it, Gary. Take care, man.
Yeah, please tell them about this, like, or if they're just ask them, like, why do you want to die knowing that this is gonna happen?
That's wisdom, man. What you're telling them or what you're asking them. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Wisdom from the young, correcting the old and decrepit. Jesse in California, been on hold forever. He wants to comment on what he calls the Chinese takeover of California. Interesting, and it's happening. Oh my gosh. What's up, Jesse?
Hey, how you doing, Hake?
Fine.
I'm take you down a bit of a rabbit hole right now, but
okay.
So pretty much, they pretty much been here for a while, right? And back in, I think it was 2014 or something like that, a state senator, a Democrat state senator, I think his name is Leland Yee, he got arrested, right, for trying to sell shoulder missiles from Moro Islamic Liberation Front to people in the Philippines and all this stuff.
Yeah, I remember some type of corruption coming out of
it was crazy.
Politician named that. Yeah, Leland Yee.
So he was tied to all this one lady that pretty much she's a Vietnamese lady, because I used to grow pot, right, for 9 years up in the Sierras and stuff. So a lot of the Asians, the Hmong primarily, they go buy land, or they're getting funded from people from Chinese people pretty much, or people from over in Vietnam. They're getting funded.
Wow.
And they'd pretty much buy these acres and just kill them. They would just dump all their chemicals in the ground and poop in the ground, and they ruined the water table in Shasta County. So
wow.
That's why it's illegal in California to grow any marijuana in the outdoors, pretty much without a cultivation license. So
that is interesting because the Hmong people, the
Hmong people, yeah. So
I never knew that.
But anyways, that senator was tied to that lady when he got arrested. He was tied to 200 grow houses with her.
Wow.
Pretty much. So so I mean, that's pretty much what they're doing. When they're getting to power, they use it to, the Democrats that's just proof that people who get into power like that, they just want money, power, and, be able to do whatever they want. But
right.
But I saw that in a lot of cartels too, the wineries in Upper Lake and stuff. They'll rent them out to, whoever their land. And then it doesn't matter. You got cartel people there. You got Asian, Chinese gangs there.
Wow.
From overseas. And they'll be all in all black, looking like ISIS, dude, just all decked out in hardware, pretty much,
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's going on right now up in the Sierras. If you go deep enough out in the forest road, you'll run into them, pretty much. You'll run into some grows. And that's pretty much, they do leave all their crap there, spray harsh cancer-causing chemicals.
Yep.
And then they'll distribute it, by car pretty much throughout the United States to, whoever, probably black people, I'm guessing.
Well, I never knew all this. I thought that the wine country and NorCal was just mostly just beautiful. I thought it was just the cities that were corrupt. It never occurred to me.
Yeah, no, there's out there, they're renting out, especially in Modoc County, Humboldt County, they rent out their land because it's cheaper. And what the Chinese people will do, they'll get some Vietnamese, people from the Vietnam War era that came over here, the immigrants, refugees. They'll get one of the old ladies, put it in her name, and they won't even charge them because it's some 64-year-old lady. They'll bust a 2,000 plant grow, and it's some old lady. They're can't do nothing about it.
Wow.
So,
sleazy Asians. Corruption.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it, man. But
I did not know about all that going on.
Yeah, that Democratic state senator was like connected to triads in China and just a bunch of crazy stuff. Some triad member in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like hired hits, and he got out in he only did 5 years. He got out in June 2020, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but,
you know, it's so funny because Hollywood makes all these movies about the Hmong people. Gran Torino with that guy,
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. And then, like, all these movies with, like, Jackie Chan and all these things with, the triads versus... They always have, like, a Chinese hero or some Chinese or Hmong... I'm pronouncing it Hmong. Good people that leave you with, like, this positive impression. Oh, it's nice that we have Hmong and Chinese people here. But meanwhile, they are showing that there's a bunch of criminal element, but that's not what you remember. You remember, like, positive things. Oh, the Hmong are nice people. I saw Gran Torino with that one girl, even though, like, the Hmong gang members killed.
Well, they take advantage of all the social systems too, because I know, like, I have friends, so I like know how it goes. And what they'll do is they'll have a bunch of kids, right, with one person, and they'll say, "Oh, he went back to the country," and then have 5 different birth certificates.
Wow!
To get extra welfare. So
no,
so I don't know why the blacks aren't like mad at them. Like, mad at the Mexican immigrants and the
They keep it. Well, they do. The blacks do get mad at the Asians when they set up shops inside their communities. But a lot of this stuff is so under the table, you don't even know anything about it. Like, I didn't know that all that was going on. I barely remembered the Leland Yee, and I didn't remember the specifics of what went on with him. I just thought, Democrat. But it didn't occur to me, Chinese, so-called American Democrat, or whatever he is, you know? It didn't occur to me that it's all the in crowd with them.
Like all those stores that are owned by Chinese hydroponic people, though, that's a front pretty much.
Yeah.
Little thing.
Over in Temple City, like every other shop is a bridal center or a photography center. I'm like, how much money are those people actually making that they stay open? Come on. It's known to be like prostitute houses or fronts for some type of money laundering or whatever. What a mess.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, and they're pretty much taking advantage of citizens here. They'll come here, just rape the land, and then take off.
Crazy. I had no idea. I appreciate it, Jesse.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip.
All right, Hake, take care.
All right, you too. Before I get back to calls, I got the lines full, but quickly, I got to show you. Speaking of cartels and stuff, the other day, 2 days ago, I think, I talked about the Reynosa in Mexico, the Gulf Cartel, and I have some pictures. Some of them were shown at the beginning of the first hour, when I introed this thing. Joel, if you could pull up this picture of these ISIS-looking people. Is Joel awake? I don't know. I think... Oh, he's here. Okay. Reynosa, Mexico is a border city, and it has major problems with what's called the Gulf Cartel. They're fighting and shooting up each other regularly because I guess a leader of the cartel, the Gulf Cartel, was taken. And so now it's like a fight for control or something like that. And Reynosa is a highly economically, you can make them a lot of money, right? It's shipping and all kinds of stuff going on over there. And they want in on the money, the Gulf Cartel. And different factions of the Gulf Cartel, I think, are fighting each other. And then the cops have no control over the city. Typical, right? And that's coming to America. It's kind of the case in America in many places. Well, it reminded me of stuff that I heard about the cartels from early days when I was producer of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, 2013, 2014, and 2015 and more. I learned that ISIS You know how ISIS, the Muslim terrorist group, whom Trump all but wiped out, Hillary and Obama were the co-founders of ISIS, according to President Trump. ISIS got some of their brutal tactics. You know, they were doing horrible executions of innocent people, in many cases innocent people. Well, they got some of their brutal tactics from some of these cartels. And I remember seeing Los Zetas, that cartel, doing horrible things to Gulf Cartel members, cutting off heads and all kinds of stuff. Crazy, horrific things. And I have this picture from like 2012 or something like that. And these ISIS-looking Los Zetas members, purported, have a hostage that he cooperated fully with them, and they knocked him out before decapitating him. But they did some of these things with horrible things, chainsaws and knives and all kinds of stuff to these people. And in many cases, they're fellow cartel members, but all kinds of innocent people get kidnapped and killed and murdered, all kinds of stuff going on down in Mexico. And these are ISIS-looking, but they're cartel members. Crazy. Beautiful Mexico. We're all the same. No borders, no walls, no USA at all, is the line from Antifa. And now Joe Biden is opening up America. No borders, no walls. And by the way, Joe Biden says housing is a human right. Just like the Antifa communists over in Olympia, Washington. I have some pictures from this thing that I reported on the other day. Olympia Housing Now, or Oli Housing Now. Olympia, Washington, up there in the Pacific Northwest. They talk about housing justice, which is not justice. And they say housing is a human right. And Joe Biden also says housing is a right, so he's a communist too. People pretend that, oh, he's a centrist just because he's a boomer and been in office forever and whatever. No, he's evil. He'll go along with every evil more willingly than most. The other day, I think it was Sunday, this housing group, Oli Housing Now, armed Antifa members. They were armed Antifa members because they are Antifa. They believe in the racism thing. They hate white people, America. Housing is housing justice. Give me a break. They bought up a bunch of rooms and put homeless people in this hotel, the Red Lion Hotel up in Olympia, Washington, and did an armed takeover of it. Scared the employees and the other tenants of the I don't know if they're called tenants, people who were having a hotel room. They were stuck indoors. And some of them evacuated, but the police had to go in. 30 police vehicles had to respond. 2 SWAT vans. They were setting off flashbangs. They forcibly removed. This is the propaganda. They forcibly removed presumably single, a mother and her children, a homeless mother and her children from the hotel, which was an upsetting, very visibly upset everyone around me, reports Shauna Sowersby, a female reporter. Flashbangs inside a hotel, like a nice hotel. I don't know how nice it is. The Red Lion. No respect they don't believe in property rights. This Tacoma Housing Now, Tacoma, Washington, put up this picture. Eviction equals violence. Housing is a human right. Sick people. And that's the type of stuff that these sleaze people believe in. And by the way, the female mayor of Olympia also believes in all this nonsense. She just disagrees with their tactics. But she agrees with everything else. Sickos. Just a publicity stunt, says Doom Jesus. Yeah, it was too. It's propaganda. To make people feel sorry for the mother and her children who were taken away. Oh, I'm a victim of police violence. Give me a break. Deport. Antifa. Anyway, let me get to Gabriel in California. Wants to comment on the election shenanigans. What's up, Gabriel?
Okay, I know we can't say the word on the radio. I'm sorry about that. Hey, I just want to know, why is Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, knowing that, I watched the show 48 Hours, right? And the detectives always do an investigation. One of the things they always look for is video footage of the suspect leaving the facility where the murder or something happened.
Oh,
you got people who are caught on video. When did video evidence of somebody committing a crime not? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Are you referring to the Georgia incident that looked kind of shady?
Yeah, the shenanigans that they got going on.
I mean, the problem is there's people who will look at that and say, "Oh, nothing wrong with that." There are officials who are saying, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with that," and the media is not going to scrutinize that because the media is on the side of the liars too, and so
you got them.
Yeah, they're not going to investigate anything.
Passing the cards. They got them passing the cards. They got them running ballots over and over and over again. They got every one of them that were in that room. Every one of them. They got everything. They got the one guy. Oh my God! So the shenanigans don't count when you see it on video. Oh, you didn't just see that. I mean, it's amazing how
some of this stuff may or may not be what we thought it was, right? Some of this stuff that we saw or heard about. But the point is, like, we don't know what happened, and then nobody's seriously getting to the bottom of what happened because there's so much. The people who are trying to investigate are on the outside, and they're being blocked. Evidence is being destroyed. In many cases, there's no evidence to begin with. It's just like Obama or even Kamala Harris. Nobody is looking into their background to see if they're really legitimately supposed to be president because this is what's supposed to happen. They're supposed to be this. So they don't care about the truth. And when the establishment does not care about the truth, you're just going to be shrugged off as a conspiracy theorist and a terrorist.
Well, being at the Capitol, for eyewitness reports to let you know that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were there breaking in, doing that stuff. Even, before we even walked over, I heard that the shenanigans had started. And all the movie was being played out before we even left the speech. So, I mean, they know this stuff. I mean, these are things that are known.
President Trump was still doing his speech when the riot started.
That's what I told you, Hake.
Yeah. It's
it
not
happened
like they
before we got there.
Yeah. So it's all lies. They don't mind lying.
I mean,
revisionist history.
I mean, you got eyewitness accounts of the shenanigans going on. Over 4,000 affidavits.
Yeah.
Over 4,000. What's done in the dark is going to come to the light. And justice, it might grind slow, but it's fine when it's finished. Hey, Hake, man, I love the young man that said, man, that these older generation want to leave the black community in shambles.
Me too.
I love that. I went into the store, Hake, to buy a fishing pole, looking for a fishing pole. All my fishing poles that are in the thing, I don't want to give the people advertisements, but all your sporting goods stores, every fishing pole is made in, you guessed it, China.
Yeah.
And I want to bring this up real quick, man. The Senator Feinstein rode around with a Chinese spy for 20 years, posing as. Right. This is a Chinese spy. It's like what is that movie where Bruce Lee just played the Green Hornet? That's what it is. It's like
Kato,
Dianne Feinstein. It's like Dianne Feinstein was the Green Hornet. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
and rode around with it. It's
crazy.
It's just freaking insane. And then now Swalwell, they're going to keep this dude in the Senate, even though that this dude was over there sleeping with a Chinese spy.
Allegedly.
The one guy. It's amazing. It's amazing. The truth is...
Gabriel, you went away from the phone. Your phone's not clear right now.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Much better.
Hey, so the shenanigans are still in effect with Swalwell, who was sleeping with a Chinese spy, know that he has been in contact with a Chinese spy, people that are from the sea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Knowing this. But, I mean, these are no longer criminal offenses. I want to leave you with two last things. I just said one. But look, there's a guy who was a lawyer. He forged an email that set off something for 4 years against our president, President Donald J. Trump. He forged the email. He gets probation.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
You got a guy who makes a meme up, and he's getting 10 years in jail.
Yeah.
Man, it doesn't make any sense anymore, man.
Nope.
These weirdos, this bizarro world that they've created and that they live in has no truth.
Yeah.
And it is evil to the fullest, man. I love Jesse. Love you, Hake. Stay on it, man. Stay on these guys.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Joel, stop sleeping.
I don't think he was asleep.
You gotta know my voice.
I misread his body language.
The anchor baby keeps on, man. He doesn't know I'm from Fairfield, California, man. Hey, love you guys. You guys keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate it, Gabriel. Take care, man. Very interesting. We're opening up the treasure chest, guys. Let me first get to Chris, a first-time caller in Atlanta, Georgia, has a question for me. Chris, thanks for calling in and holding. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, what's up? Hey, James.
Hey.
I don't know much, but I know you grew up with a Christian background and stuff, but where did you grow up in California?
Yeah, Southern California. Right outside of L.A.
Right. And I remember when I saw you do the Fallen State interview with Nick and Joel, my question is, like, as far as what Jesse believes in, like, to this day right now, you say you don't know if you want to get married, right?
Right.
So do you, and as far as Nick and Joel, are you guys still, like, trying to, like, is what Jesse preaches, be abstinent till marriage and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Which is how I was raised, actually. I was raised that this is wrong. I mean, you know how mothers will, like, impose the rules that they believe in?
Yeah.
So it was imposed like that, like it was kind of over the top. But yes, I was,
okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know much about that, but,
were you raised Christian?
You grew up, yes.
Were you raised to believe that sex outside of marriage is wrong, or no?
Yeah, but I feel like, I mean, almost every, at least modern church, they're not really doing that.
They don't care about that, huh?
Yeah.
It's interesting. My church did. My previous church that I went to, you know, when I was a kid, my brother goes to and everything. They actually kicked out a couple that kept on. The woman kept getting pregnant out of wedlock. So I think they kicked them out because they just weren't even, like, the preacher felt that they weren't even trying to do the right thing, which is kind of that might be a little extreme or ill-advised, or you might not agree with it, but that was how conservative and holding to the values that my church was growing up. I just thought that was normal. So it was kind of shocking to me to find out that people have sex out of wedlock and have no shame about it.
A lot of famous pastors out of, like, these big famous churches are even, like, there's, like, scandals of them cheating and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy.
Yeah. Especially the bigger and more famous they get. They get all that fame and opportunity. And when you have those opportunities, normal people, many normal, lesser-known people aren't subjected to that kind of temptation. And they don't know what they would do in those situations. And then, so they end up judging President Trump for having slept around in his younger days or 15 years ago, whatever, allegedly, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, you can't be so judgmental against other people for their past as if you knew what it was like. You know, if you had the kind of strong personality, would you have been abstinent? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, thanks for answering the question. I didn't know that about you, but because I saw in one of your Instagram pictures, you had, like, the Confederate flag, so I thought you were from the South or something. So
no, I just
didn't know what your conservative upbringing was.
I have friends from the South or who moved to the South, and I noticed growing up that everything was wrong to make fun of, such as any religion or any other race or anybody, except for Southerners and Southern whites specifically. I noticed in the mainstream culture that it was green light on the South any old time. And it kind of made humor boring to me, comedians, because they just mock the South mercilessly. And I'm like, okay, but you're scared to tell the truth about everybody else. And so I've always had a soft spot for the South ever since I realized that they're falsely smeared and they're some of the most decent and Christian and non-Democrat people. So that's why I love the South.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Thanks again, man. Continue doing what you're doing, bro.
All right, Chris. Appreciate you, man. Take care. I gotta end, guys. This has been the Hake Report. Stephanie in New York City, a first-time caller, wanted to talk about Trader Joe's. Somebody was banned from Trader Joe's. And racist language. And Ruth in Georgia says, everyone is still a slave today. Ladies, get back to me tomorrow or whenever you can. We'll talk. But I cannot get to you. And the rest of the callers, thehakereport.com for my stuff, jesseleepeterson.com for JLP's stuff, rebuildingtheman.com/church, 4 p.m. today in the Bond Sunday Service Throwback stream from 2010. Cool service. You will like it. Talking about women and men and the evil that men and women do. It is going to be good. So check that out, 4 p.m. today or afterwards. You can podcast it. And, of course, tomorrow, Men's Forum. Excellent. All right, guys. Take care.